Hey guys, my name is John, and this is Great Turtle Technology. I should have said that in the first video, but yeah. The first topics I'm going to talk about is what is the best coding language of all time? There is really not a best coding language of all time at all. I mean, there is a best coding language for a certain use, like HTML is used for designing websites, and C++ and Java are used for computer application, phone applications, I think. Or do they do phone applications? I'm not sure. But they're used for computer stuff. So it really depends what you're doing in the future. So you have to do a bunch of research on what coding language you want to learn and how it's going to be of use to you. And if you're just here to learn C++, that's great. I mean, yeah. People also ask me what the best IDE is. As I said in the first video, there is no best IDE. They basically do the same exact thing, all of them. Dev C++ do the same thing. Microsoft Visual Studio does the same thing. On the Mac, there is a thing called Xcode on the App Store. It's $5, you can download it. And it's basically a C++ IDE for Mac. And since Mac can't code in C++, that's really useful. And you can code that way. And if you're watching this, you should go and download that right now. It's $5, it's not that much. If you can afford a Mac, you can use $5. Alright, well, I guess we can move on, and I guess I can show you how to make a new project. I'm going to show you how to make a new project in Dev C++ as well. You can start a new project either here or File, and then click on New, and then click on New. Well, hover over New and click on Project, or Control-Shift-N. I'm going to click here. Start New Project. It's going to tell you all this random crazy stuff. I'm using Ultimate, so it's a lot more stuff here. You want to click on Win32 console application, and you can name this whatever you want, honestly. And you click on OK, and it's going to show up this window. Go to Application Settings, uncheck Precompiled Header, and check Empty Project, and click on Finish. If you don't do any of this and just click on Next, it's going to load up some weird pre-code in your project, and you don't want that. That's just, it gets confusing, and you want a blank project for yourself. So click on Finish once you've done that, and it's loading. It's gonna pop up a bunch of things in the side window, and you want to right click on this, go to Add New Item, or Control-Shift-A, and it's going to pop up this window. Click on C++ File, since we're going to code in C++, and you can name this whatever you want as well, and then click on Add, and it's going to show up the final coding window. Let's see if this, yeah, okay. I did another take on this, and it wasn't, Microsoft Visual Studios wasn't color coding it, and I had to stop the video in the middle of it, so that made me sad. Anyways, this is, I should show you the mechanics of, or the functions, or I'm using the wrong words for this, but I'm just going to use it anyway. I'm going to show you the functions of the IDE. Here, there's the output window, and if you make a mistake or anything, it'll show up here. 50% of the time you probably might understand it, 50% of the time you won't. I mean, a lot of it's kind of hard to understand, but it will, most of the time it will show you a certain tick here where you made the mistake, and you just go back and fix it. It will show you if it's the build was success or a fail as well. So this is a really useful window to look at. It's also in here. It should show up on the bottom once you're like compiling all that. I'm going to show you how to make a project on here. Here, I already have a project loaded up. But here you can click on File, New, and Source File. Or you can go to here and click on New, and it'll pop up all this. And that's basically it. Compared to Visual Studios, that's way, way simpler. And the phone is ringing. Alright, I guess I'll show you the first thing. Commenting. Commenting is very, very useful for other coders and yourself, especially. You want other people to understand what your work is, and you want yourself to understand what your work is. And it's best to comment meaningful things. Like if you're going to comment a piece of your code that does arithmetic processes, like, I don't know, 2 plus 2 equals 2. No, it does not equal 2, it equals 4. But if you want to do that, you have to do that. You have to comment for other people to understand. I mean, I'm not sure you can actually do 2 plus 2 equals 2 in C++ because C++ is a very logical program. I don't think it will actually do that. But it will do 2 plus 2 equals 4. Actually, I don't think that actually even works. Anyways, if you want, that was just an example I made up on the fly. But if you want to, you have to use comments. I'm stressing you guys to use comments. Use comments. Use comments. This only comments on one line. But if you want to comment on multiple lines, you do /*// and whatever in between is a bunch of, you can just code or write a bunch of lines of, you know, random stuff, and the compiler will ignore all this, and only you and other coders can read it. Yeah, that's useful stuff. I guess I'll straight head into actual coding. You probably have seen this in a lot of code. It's pound include IO stream. And what this does, pound include arrow brackets, I guess, whatever inside. This includes a bunch of, it includes a header file, and what a header file is a file that contains a bunch of pre-code already done for you. So the reason coders do this, because in almost every single code you probably need to use IOStream or any other CMAF string, any of those in your code, and it's probably a long process to actually code it yourself. So the creators of C++ just included these, and the directories are on your computer somewhere, and this is really useful. Just use this, and you don't have to use a bunch of random code that you have to put on every single one of your programs. Next thing I'm going to show you is using namespace std semicolon. Make sure you put semicolons. That's like the period of the C++ world. My teacher never actually explained what this is. I'm not sure what it is either. It's a thing you should include in every single code you do, because I don't know, for some reason it doesn't work without it. If you guys are watching this and you know what it is, please comment what it is, because I would like to learn what it is too. Whenever I don't put this in my code, I couldn't use some of the statements I put in my code, like cout and all that. And I'll show you cout in a bit. But yeah, include that in your code. And what I'm doing right now is showing the basic structure of all code. And this is like the beginning of it. This is your header file and all that. And the next part of it is the declarations. And the declarations are usually, actually I'll show that later. I'm going to show you how to use cout first, and then show you how to do declarations. The next thing in the code is called your function, your int main. and it's int space main, and then in these parentheses. Int, what int is doing is it's a data type, and it's defining main as an integer data type. So you probably want to include that. And you want these brackets. What these brackets do, they enclose a certain amount of your code into a certain function. So this function, whatever is in here, is included in here, and it's never affected by outside stuff unless it's like a global variable, which I'm going to show you after this. So I guess the first thing we could do is to output a statement like hello world, but we're not going to do hello world because everyone else does that. So let's do something different. The first thing you need to do is cout, arrow, arrow, out arrows, left arrows. And what cout does, it outputs anything to the screen, to whatever, yeah, to the screen on your computer. So I will show you after. I will compile this and run it. And what I'm going to include in here is some quotations. And what quotations do, you put whatever, anything in here. I mean, words, numbers. You can't. I don't think you can use special characters. Only certain special characters. But whatever you put in these quotations are going to be just, straight out output onto the screen. And I'll show you in a bit. I'm probably making no sense what I'm saying right now, but I'll show you in a bit. And first thing we're going to put on here is John is your new overlord. And then we want to put an nline character, and what that does, it's basically ending the line and it moves to the next line, if that makes any sense. I'll show you when this is over. End line, semicolon. Always include your semicolons. And there is a thing you put at the end of every single main function, and it's called return 0 semicolon. You don't need to do that in modern applications like this one, like in modern IDEs like Visual Studios, but it's great practice for now since it's pretty recent. I mean, why not? And what it does, it returns an integer 0 to the function. Now, and I'll explain in greater detail after we get to void functions and all that, value returning functions. Anyway, let's go ahead and run this. Start without debugging. Yes. And should output John is your new overlord into a command screen. As you can see here, John is your new overlord is outputted onto the screen with cout and all this. And what nline exactly does, as you can see, usually press any key to continue is usually over next to it. And what it does, it literally moves all that to the next line. It goes to the next line. And without this, that press any key to continue is going to be on the same line as this one, as this string of letters. See? This is without nline, and this is with nline. So, yeah, basic. I don't know if I should keep going along with this video or it's probably gotten really long by now. I know I made a promise of making short videos, but it's not looking like that. At least I'll add background music or something. Alright. Oh yeah, I'm going to show you how to do declaration of variables. Declaration of variables. Usually they go either before the function or within the function. Later on you want to use local variables in here, And what local variables are, it's basically declarations of variables in int main, and global variables is out here above any function. And what global variables do is they affect every single function. And I'll explain in greater detail about that later, but right now I'm just going to show you how to make a declaration of variable. And the first thing I'm going to do is constant string words, I guess, equals John is your new overlord. Copy, paste. And what I just did is I declared words. This is all made up. You can literally put anything here and define it. But it's probably, this is called an identifier. And what my teacher tells me is to use meaningful identifiers, as in use identifiers that you understand and what other coders will understand especially. So I named it words, which is probably not the best one, but I'm using this here. And I made it equal John is your new overlord. And what this is a constant string variable. And what constant is basically, I declared this words as a constant. So anywhere I type in here, if I do words here and then end the line, it's gonna, what? Oh, I should tell you, actually I'll tell you that later. And what this does, it's gonna output the same exact thing as this. It's gonna output this because this is defined as words. And string, and I defined it as string. This is a data type, I think. And what string is basically a list, a bunch of characters, and you just define it as string, and you need to do that, otherwise it won't work. And the problem with this is I didn't include a header file, and what header file I should include is string, and without string I won't be able to use words. See, it went away. In order to use this declaration of a string, constant string variable, string, I need to include the header file string. So let's run this thing. Start without debugging. Yes. And it should work. See? Same exact thing. Same thing. Alright. Let's do a bit more complicated things. Let's add another declaration of a constant string variable. Let's call this words2. And I don't know. John is also your C++ teacher. Let's add another thing. Semicolon. Always remember your semicolons. What I'm going to show you is how to add together words or string of characters. And what this does is basically it adds this sentence with this sentence. And what it's going to show you is these two sentences ran together. Run together. I don't know English. English is weird. I'm going to show you the output statement, and see, it adds them. Okay. Obviously, you want a space in between them because, as you saw, there was not a space. Actually, I should use quotations. So if you want to add a space, you just do that. It's just simple as that. See, there is a space there. John is your new overlord. John is also your C++ teacher. All right. I think that's really it. I think that's all the things you need to know in order to do the assignment I'm going to tell you. The last thing I'm going to explain is this is literally the basic structure. It's almost in every single program in C++ out there. And it's usually your header files, this thing, I don't know what this is, but you need it, your declaration of variables. There are other declarations of these, and I'm going to show you those in later videos. And there's the function and the body of the function, and that's usually what every program has. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about the assignment, and I'm going to pull it up right here. Let's ignore this one and look at this one. Number 1, write a program that prints out your weekly schedule. Use name string constants to avoid retyping. Here's an example of the output of an output. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. So as you can see, is Monday physics 11 o'clock. All right. You can see that this is a string, this is also a string, and this is also a string. And there's spaces in between them. As in, you can use those plus things to add a space in between them and add them on the same line. And you have to have an end of line character here, and because it goes to another line. See? I would suggest pausing this video right now and doing it yourself. And the best way to learn programming is doing it yourself. If you just watch this and listen to me badly explaining it, you're not going to understand any of this. You're not going to remember any of this. I suggest pausing it right now. Pause it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Just do it. Don't let your dreams be dreams. Just do it. Alright? Do it. Pause it. You paused it? Okay. Alright. Okay. I'm going to move on now. Gonna move on. Alright, I'm going to pull up a piece of code that I wrote in class, and I'm going to copy and paste it. And this should be the answer. Alright, as you can see, I included my header files. I didn't include any comments. I actually left that out on accident, but usually at the top I usually put what the code does and what its purpose is and my name on it. So yeah, please do that. As you can see, these are my declaration of variables, and these are global. Constant string, I named it time 1, time 2, time 3, day 1, day 2, day, etc., class 1, and these are all the strings. And here's the function, cout day 1, space, class 1, space, time 1, inline. And it's basically my schedule. And this is obviously not my actual schedule, but it's a made-up schedule. But yeah, this is really easy. So let's go ahead and run this. Click on yes. And this is the schedule. This is my schedule. So if your output looks like this, you did a good job. And I think that's it. Alright, thanks for watching.